Welcome back to my channel. I have Army veteran JB back with me here at the National Armored Cavalry Collection at Fort Benning, Georgia. And we have another armored vehicle from his service that he's going to share a little bit with us today.
All right, hey, how's it going? It's JB. We're gonna go over the MaxxPro now. So I've been on the MaxxPro a couple of times, only ran a few missions, and it was actually a different units one, but I have experience in the gunner's position. I've driven one a little bit and rode in the back. So we're gonna go over it, and then if you guys have any other comments, you can throw in the comment section. We can fight it out down there over how much you like these things. So we'll start at the front, go all the way around, then we'll end up inside and out of the cold. So up front, we've got, obviously the front. I do this every time. Obviously the front. Made by International. Engines up front. This is a mine-resistant, ambush-protected vehicle. It's meant to take a blast and machine gun caliber or below bullets. Now, when I say take a blast, I don't mean survive the blast. All right, the vehicle's probably going to be screwed, but everybody inside should be less screwed. All right, they might be a little jacked up, but they might still be alive. So that's what this is designed to do, is lessen the blast and direct it out in other directions. And I'll show you the V-shaped hull and stuff like that as we go around. Some of the things that this has, it's a fairly nice feature is you got a nice big winch on the front, so if you get stuck. Something that makes the MaxxPro a little bit different than the rest of the MRAP family of vehicles is this one's a little bit narrower, but it's taller. And as you can see, it goes a long way up there. So, but this one's a little bit narrower. This one has the four-wheel configuration. There's also another configuration of MaxxPro that has a dually rear axle. That one's a little bit wider in the rear and makes it a little bit more stable, but the suspension's a little bit tighter on that one, in my opinion. Visibility out of this one might be a little bit better because your nose is shorter than some of the other ones, things like that. One of the cool features about this is that it has a system that actually can spray water on your tires. So if your tires are on fire, this can spray water on them, which that'll keep you from burning up, which is nice. Moving around the vehicle, we have our 4 tires, 2 on this side, 2 on the other, standard vehicle configuration. We've got big old extra armor plates. All right, these are spaced armor, so any sort of chemical round, like an explosively formed penetrator, hits this because they're trying to aim for the crew. So this is where the crew would be, is here and here. So it's designed to help protect the people on the inside better. The explosively formed penetrator goes into this. It has a big old dead space on the inside, or these sometimes are packed with explosives. It either directs the blast out or gives it a cavity for it to dissipate in. And then there's space behind it so that once it hits the main hull armor, it just kind of pitters out on that and doesn't penetrate and kill everybody on the inside. We got steps on the way up. We've got fuel cans, or fuel, yeah, cans works. Fuel. We've got a big handle to get inside. Mirrors, you can see the grates over the inside, so if people are throwing rocks or whatever, they aren't going to mar up the outside of your vehicle. Then we got big air intakes. This is for your air conditioner in here. We got more armored panels. As you can hear, there's nothing in there. Then moving back, you can see the other nozzle for your water system on here. We got different storage boxes and things like that. You can put chalk block in there, or a jack stand, or whatever you needed to put in here, a set of chains, your jumper cables, whatever you needed, can go into there. There's little boxes and stuff like that all over this vehicle. We have our exhaust, which gets hot. All right, it says it right there, in case you were wondering, hot. Right here, this giant barn door is in fact a giant barn door. This is your ramp. So this will come down. If we actually had a power in this vehicle, this could come down. The inside of that is just lined with stairs, so you walk up it like a ramp. We got spots for jerry cans for water or fuel. Normally water, because desert's hot. You could do 2 and 2, you could do 4 of each, you could do 1 and 3, however you really want to mess it up. Your mufflers down here, air hookups for if you want to run a trailer. a big tow pintle for if you want to run a trailer. The other side is exactly the same, but on the right side of the vehicle. You can kind of see some of the antenna mounts up top. Those are for communications antennas and jamming equipment, things like that. You got steps that go up the side, but as you see, as I talked about before, the MaxxPro is taller. So the ladder doesn't even start until my head height. And then I've got another probably 5 foot to go before I can get up to the top from this back side. So that's where you climb up on your corner or pop open your little storage box and use that for a ladder, whatever you can do to get up to the top if you need to get up there. And you can strap anything you need to up there, camo nets, or you can put all your bags up there if you don't want to have them on the inside, things like that. And then to get into the inside, you've got your different handles on the driver and the commander side. And then one of those two get in and they actually lower your ramp so you can get in there. That's your main ingress and egress point, is out of your ramp whenever the vehicle is fully operational and running. And then you can also see down underneath, you see how beefy your suspension is. And you can also kind of see how some of the plates up underneath are angled out so that you can deflect the blast out. I'll actually crawl up here and point to it. Right up here, this is part of that V-shaped hull. You can see it's got even extra plates welded on there, but this comes out. All this is going to get ripped off, but hopefully everybody inside is going to be alive. All right, so we are now in the crew compartment of the MaxxPro. We've came in out of the cold, and this one holds 4 people. Some of the other ones hold more. The RG33 holds a couple more. The Cayman holds 6. This one will hold 4. This one can hold 2 litters. So if you have 2 casualties, you can stack them up over on this side, and 2 people can actually be on that side in the seats. These have suspended seats, as you can see. So these, they got little ropes coming down. So if you see ropes hanging off the back, it's not just because we really like knot tying or anything like that. That's what suspends the seat in case there is a blast underneath us. As I talked about on the outside, this is the stairs that are on the ramp. So when this ramp goes down, these stairs are your way out. Kind of makes it convenient, but if the ramp doesn't want to come down, it's a long process to actually pump it down manually. So you got to find a different way out. There's no real quick emergency way out. Unlike some of the other MRAP vehicles, this does not have a place for your feet to hang out. So if there is a blast underneath, your feet might take a little bit of a hit and could come up. But remember, this vehicle's a little taller, has a little bit more ground clearance before it gets to the ground. So any sort of blast that comes up has longer to go. So it might not hit you as hard, hopefully. Some of the other things back here, we got over on this side, we got our little pump and mechanism for operating the back ramp. Then we've got one single hatch back here for a squad leader or somebody to be outside checking stuff out if he wants to. It's good and heavy, like everything armored. And then we have communications boxes around the vehicle, similar to other armored vehicles. It's just a way for us to all talk to each other and relay information. This one's a little bit harder to see out of the back than some of the other MRAP vehicles. Not just because it's got the the delamination with age and all that, but you have bars on the outside. We're higher up, the windows are a little bit skewed, and they don't really aim out to our back corners. We have these little itty bitty ones back behind my head, and that it doesn't give you as much rearward visibility as some of the other vehicles does. So a lot of that'll fall on the gunner. He'll actually turn around and he'll see if something's behind you or something like that, which that's not bad. He doesn't have as much vehicle behind him to worry about as some of the longer MRAPs do, because this one's shorter, obviously. So he has a better ability to clear back behind you, and the guys in here don't have to worry about it as much. So the seats in this one are a little bit more comfortable than some of the other seats. They're a little bit more squishy, which is nice, and they're not bad to sit in for long periods of time. So if you had the chance, this might be the one you want to ride around in for a long time. However, your suspension is a little bit more tough, so it rides a little rougher. Other than that, we got a dome light over on that side. That way you can see on the inside. Okay, so going a little bit more in depth with this ramp here. So right here, you stick this handle in here. You can manually pump the ramp up or down. It's not an easy process and it's not a quick process, so that's not your primary way to do it. There's a little switch right here that the guys in back can actually run themselves to raise and lower this ramp. So if they're ready to get out, they lower it, they get out, and then the driver actually has another one. He can raise this ramp up. I also believe there's another switch on the outside where if you know where it's at, you can raise up the ramp by yourself from out there. And right behind that, these big red bottles, that's your internal fire suppression system. So if there's a fire in here, this halon will come out and it'll put the fire out, hopefully. And that is about it. All right, so here we had the gunner's position. I've gunned on one of these before for a couple of missions. This is not the nicest gunner's position I've ever been in. One, because the vehicle's so much taller than the other family of MRAPs and the suspension's a little bit stiffer, and you get knocked around quite a bit up here. And as you can see, like I'm standing on the floor, and I still haven't even got my head outside the hatch yet. So it's almost like you're coming up to a second-story building, getting up in here. It does have a hatch that you can close if you wanted to, but normally you're up riding. You have a cable here that runs to your power distribution box for your electric drive. So this had an electric drive like a lot of the vehicles that have been used in the last decade or so. And it also has a manual backup. So I can actually turn this and the whole thing will go around wherever I need it to go. Has a hatch up here that I can close, so I can actually kind of double close this thing up. It's almost like you're coming out of the top of a submarine when you're up here. Down here on the bottom is the gunner's platform that he stands on. So all you have to do, you lift this up, get it in to these little pegs here. You take this little strap, put it in here, and that's what you're standing on. Now this here, everyone that's been the gunner on a wheeled vehicle in the last decade is gonna know what this is. This is a gunner's harness. This is one of the least comfortable things that a gunner has to wear, but it's one of those things that'll keep you in the vehicle if it's going to fall over or roll over or anything like that. You put on this harness, and you take the little seatbelt here, and you clip in, and then it'll hold you inside the vehicle if anything should go wrong. But that thing right there, you either love them or you hate them, and I haven't heard too many people love them. Up top is a standard gun truck turret. You just got your from the top up, it looks like a Humvee turret. It's got the ballistic glass around it. It's got the ballistic metal around it. It's got the gun shield. You can put on a slew of weapons from 240s to 50 cal, a saw. You can put anything you need to up there. Normally your gunner will also have his personal weapon up there, so like an M4. And that's just to, like if you have traffic encroaching on you, something like that, you don't have to swing your whole machine gun over there. You can get your point across with just your personal weapon, like your M4, your M16, and you can let them know that whatever they're doing is probably not what you want them to be doing. They'll get the point from there. And then if you have to escalate from that, then you could swing the crew serve weapon over and maybe, if you have to, fire off a warning shot or just intimidate them into stop riding behind you so close or whatever they're doing that you don't want them to be doing. And then that is pretty much the gunner station. Right next to the gunner, similar to other MRAPs, you have your communication station, which is here. You got different sort of radios, whether it's FM, satellite, whatever it is packed in over here. On this side, the very important AC unit. All right, your AC unit's going to go in and it's going to filter in to all these little vents here and try to keep everybody as cool as it possibly can, being in a giant armored box inside of a desert. So that right there, very important. The controls for that are actually here. That's how you turn it on, off, all that jazz. You tell it whether you want to be hot, cold, whatever. That'll handle it. And then from there, we go on to the driver's position and the commander's position. So here we are in the driver's position. The driver's position, like a lot of these MRAPs, they were taken right off the shelf, right? So they took pre-existing vehicles, they figured out how to up armor them, things like that. So the way International came about it is they looked at a vehicle that they already had in service. I'm not 100% sure which one of their models they picked, but if you look, this is just the dash off of a truck. That's it. This is an International truck. There is zero difference, nothing that makes this Army. All right, it's an International. I got cruise control. I've got all of my gauges that I would regularly have to do anything in a regular truck made by International. We have our gear selector down here, very similar to most of the modern Army heavier trucks, neutral, reverse, drive. You've got ways to select what mode you want in, whether it's four-wheel drive or all that jazz. Up here, we have a control system for the driver's night sight. So the driver's night sight has a sensor up on top, and it's actually a thermal sensor. Well, in order to be able to turn around corners or things like that, I need to be able to move the head of the sensor to be able to see which way I go. So if I need to move it up, down, left, right, wherever I need to move it, and if I want it to go back to the middle, I just hit that button and it recenters itself. I can also hold that button and I could tell it to store that spot. So if the spot that I wanted to always go back to is my front left corner, because I'm always hitting things with that or something like that, I can put it there, and if I hit that button, the camera will slew to it and I can see if I'm about to hit something. Or what normally happened was we set it to center. So how I'm looking is whatever I'm seeing on this screen little bracket here. Your screen would be here. Wherever I'm looking, I set that. I set the center position, and that's where the camera is going to go back to. So at night, I'm driving around. I scan to see something. One of the things that we learned about with this system is that you can see hot spots, so freshly disturbed dirt, things like that. That could actually help you if you were driving around at night and somebody had just put in like a roadside bomb or something like that. You might actually catch that on this. Or if you could see somebody hiding in the bushes with this. A lot of the times, the driver in, let's say, in the Bradley, in the newer Bradleys, they had this same thermal night sight system. It just wasn't capable of moving. But it was capable of spotting troop targets at gunnery popping up. So anything that's within rifle range, so about 250, 300 meters or below, you're going to be able to see that hot spot very clearly with this. And you can guide the gunner or the commander on, and they could put their spotlights or get other sets of eyes onto that spot before we commit to driving through that area or something like that. So that was very effective, very helpful. That was one of the things. I've never heard anybody really say that they didn't appreciate this system, if not like it. It was better than our old school passive IR stuff and our older night sights that we had. Moving on from there, basically, like I said, nothing different from here. We've got air brake controls, we've got front axle lockers, things like that. We've got a little bit of heater controls, exhaust brakes, all these little buttons and knobs and switches and stuff. Here we have a power amp for something, looks like satellite radio possibly. And we have a loudspeaker so we don't have to hear anything through our headset if we don't want to. We could just run another radio that wasn't locked into our internal communications. And that is just about it. You can see that the driver's seat and the commander's seat later on, they're both hung by these straps. And that was, again, to take the blast of an IED going off, something like that. Other than that, we have our door. These doors are powered, so they actually have a hydraulic ram in them because they're so heavy. And you just flick a switch and hold it, the door opens up, and you get out that way. Not the fastest way to do things, but it's effective, and you're able to get out through there. Okay, so here we are in the commander station. Very similar to other Army vehicles. So you have a GPS holder. You have a spot for your display. That'll show you where you're at on the battlefield. It'll let you text other people, things like that. Everything goes through digital stuff nowadays. You got your little stylus. All you guys with Galaxy Notes know about this. This is just plastic though, not that fancy stuff. So you just scribble on things. Another thing is you got these nice big ballistic windows. The bigger the window, the more riding surface you have. So when you're in here and you're driving around, a million things are going on. You got messages coming in here. You've got your radio blaring. You've got everything's going on at once and you're getting all confused. The last thing you have time to do is pull out a pen and paper and start writing stuff down. So pretty much what would happen is you'd tie off something like right here or right here with a little piece of string or 550 cord, and it would have your map marker. It would have your washable marker on it. And what you do is you just pull that marker down, you write down whatever's happening, and there it is. So if you have a grid or a location of something that you need to get to, you'd be like, okay, you want me to go here? Got it. Okay, and then you don't have to think about it again. You just put your pen back, you go back to doing what you're doing, and then you start typing things in where you need to go, putting it on your GPS or whatever you need to do to get to that spot, then you start getting to it. Or if you're, let's say you're a platoon leader and your guys are telling you stuff and you have to send it up higher. Well, you can write it down real quick on your windshield or on your window over here, send it all up higher over the radio or over a text or over however you need to do it, carrier pigeon if you need to, and then you can just wipe it off of your window and go on from there. So if you ever see like little pieces of cord or anything like that hanging off of a commander's position in a vehicle, guarantee he started writing on something. He either wrote here, wrote on the screen here, because some of these were touch screens. Some different vehicles had different versions that were not touch screen. That's a writing surface if you have a washable marker. Doesn't really matter. That's really all you have to work on over here is window, and your little screen here. You have your communications box to tie into, and that is about it for this side. Otherwise, you're overall in control of the vehicle. You tell the driver where to go, the gunner what to shoot, and the guys in back what to go do guys in back stuff too. That's about it. You can also, normally the commander of the vehicle will get down and kind of control the guys in the back if you don't have a squad leader or a team leader in the back that can run their own guys. So you can have a bunch of just regular ground guys in the back. You get out with them. The gunner takes command of the vehicle. Him and the driver work it out to keep the vehicle safe. But yeah, you go out and you do your thing. You come back. Maybe the gunner's shot up a bunch of people. You got to send that up, and then you just got to deal with that. But that's pretty much the whole spot right here. The MaxxPro here, this is my least favorite of all of the MaxxPro or the MRAP family of vehicles. And really it's all personal preference for me. Some people are going to probably fight me about it, but that's fine. A couple of things. One, it's tall. It's very tall. And when I say very tall, I'm coming from a Bradley background. That's not a short vehicle. This thing's tall. And if you're up in the gun, you're just getting rattled around, which that seems like a personal preference or a comfort thing. It's not. That goes to your vehicle. The term isn't fightability, but your ability to fight the vehicle. So if you're getting battered around up there, let's say you're going down a canal road and you're getting ambushed, but you don't want to stop in the ambush spot. You're driving around, but you're getting thrown around like you're in some sort of 10.0 earthquake. You can't effectively engage things with that weapon system. It's not stabilized. It's an unstabilized platform. You're just shooting it off of your shoulder. So in my eyes, this thing is probably one of the least desirable vehicles to ride around in. I was not a fan of it. Driving around is not terrible, but your visibility is a little bit lax. Compared to the other MRAPs, it's probably best to the front, but anything other than that, and you have a hard time seeing what you're looking at. Like, you have these nice mirrors over here, but you've got big bars in the way that you can't really see your mirrors. So why even have them out there? You've got windows in the back for the guys to see out of, but there's bars on those, and they're so high in the vehicle that you can't really see down or behind you at all. And the gunner's so high up that he really can't see down in front of the vehicle. So visibility is a problem out of here. The suspension's very, very stiff, and it beats the hell out of you, especially the gunner. And then that lack of situational awareness, that crew coordination where you can pass off things for other people to look at or things like that because of the lack of visibility at the back. It's one of the reasons that this one, my least favorite. Like, she might not. I don't even think she's as fast as one of the Caymans is. But I mean, other than that, it's not a bad vehicle. It will keep you alive, but they're really tall. If you take a blast underneath, you're probably falling over. If you're going down a canal road and you slip off on the side a little bit, once you start going, you're going over. So I like more stable vehicles than this one. That's just my own personal preference. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. So good. And we're out. She's going. Slowly. Come on. Manual doors. You'll have to do this. There she goes.